For a YouTube video, for a YouTube video, for a YouTube video. Okay. Hiya everybody, Echo here, and today we're gonna be playing a dating sim. Now I don't know if you know this, but sorry, my voice. Jesus Christ, I sound like Dipper. Yeah, funny. I'm a funny man. Okay. So yeah, this is a dating sim for Gravity Falls, and it's interesting. Now I won't tell you who the characters are because, well, you're about to find out. Hello everyone and welcome to a dating sim for our favorite grunkles. Here we are. Ahem. A summer road trip leads into an unexpected pause in Gravity Falls. Can you capture the heart of one of the Mystery Shack's most eligible bachelors? Or will you leave empty-handed? This is a fan project made out of love for Gravity Falls and its characters, which belong to Alex, Hirsch, and Disney. We do not claim any ownership over Gravity Falls and do not profit from this fan project. It's a free game. And I just happened to come across it while scrolling around on Pinterest, and I find it rather interesting. So, shall we get to work? Well, I guess we should, right? I'm so sorry for what you're going to see. It's really beautiful, though. I saw some fan art. Well, not really fan art, but I saw some clips from it, and I really think it's nice. Ah, good old road trips, full of promise and ripe with potential for adventure, soul-searching, and incredible scenery. Or at least that's what you thought before the novelty wore thin. Ugh. As of now, your legs are cramping up, you're exhausted, and your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees, 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 and more trees, especially on the endless winding roads that you're taking up north. That breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with words you're just able to make out. Gravity Falls. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something, because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. Something weird. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere. You put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite this panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake, only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward, like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until... Oh my god, it's the Mystery Shack. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to undo the lock before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? Yes! A man stands at your open car door, his hand on your shoulder, and lifts to tilt your head up, and he puts a flashlight from its coat, shining it into your eyes. 2 blinks, and he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you can do is watch. What's your name? Type in your name. Well, I'm gonna use the name that I use for just about all of these scenarios. Oh goodness gracious, my caps lock is on. Editing tip for later. Ashlyn, please edit that out. Thanks. Echo. Echo. Pronouns. Ooh, let's see. Oh, thank God they actually are asking for those. Technically, Echo is a bisexual, not bisexual, but unisex name. So it could really be girl, boy, they, them, whatever. Don't pick they, them. Echo, I'm Stanford Pines, Ford for short. Short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had to rebuild too many times to... The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops, jaw slacked at the sight of your car in the sight of, you're guessing, his house. You must have hit your head earlier because you swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses Ford, you've done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and... It must have pulled this victim of circumstance to the house. I suppose it is entirely my fault. I am incredibly sorry. It's fine, it's fine. Unsure of why you're reasserting this mystery man who just wrecked your car, you give an awkward shrug. It's alright? No, I must have done something wrong. A wire mix-up, perhaps. Or perhaps a potometer. They're talking about your other mistake, Sixer. Oh, right. Hey, look, it's fine. Alright? There's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage, but... a crack in the windshield, but it looks like an ominous triangle. I'm sure it'll still run. It's fine. You start up the car, it sputters, and ultimately nothing happens. You feel like crying. Oh. Let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget I'll take care of it. You're right, it is cheaper to tow it yourself, Sixer. Get that magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. Ha! What? Ha! You fixed this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you're kidding me. It takes some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, for a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away, and you're left to your thoughts. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You can take care of your car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you'll take a bus out of here, and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. It seems like they finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you to town to find a place to stay for the night, or you could stay the night here. We have some maps and information you could look at in the gift shop. In the morning, we'll help you to your car. What do you say? Grunkle Stan! Picture this, a whole week of, oh my gosh! Mabel! The girl runs out of the house and comes to a halt in front of you at the side of your car. Oh, great. Children. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I've invited Echo here to stay with us for the night, if they'd like. I'm sure I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. I can take a look. Being on vacation's pretty boring. The old Stammobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it shouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I can put something together from the gadgets I have laying around if you need any specialized tool with the job to help you with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay. And to repair your car. Yeah, I'll be good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer. Who knows how many times, and she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds pretty confident. Well, this turn of events is great. Free repairs, free lodging. There's no better deal to be found, and if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you could head to instead. Well, I accept. Thank you for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. As the Pines leads you inside the house, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part's the house. Just outside that door is the Mystery Shack. Hey, you ever been to the Mystery Shack before? I wanted to, actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road, and I got curious. You're interrupted by a loud, triumphant ha! Those bumper stickers were a good investment. Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic. And you don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How is anyone supposed to find this place to attract customers? Sixer, did you hear that? Well, they are graphically simplistic. And I don't know how they found the place, let alone thought of what is the Mystery Shack was compelling. I kinda liked it. See? They kinda liked it. Hey, I like you, Echo. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Thank you. Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze in all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Tell me, capybara or no? Yes or no? At the moment, a boy passes by. Down the far doorway, Ford calls out to him. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you running out to the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an owlbear, I swear. Oh, you have someone with you. Dipper committed a crime. Hey, I'm not suspicious at all. Did you guys see that car in the middle of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Manitars were back with a grudge. Yes, about that, Dipper, the Echo. I, stranded their car here by accident. They're staying here for the time being. Thank you. Sorry, stranded their car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S in shack fell on it and everything. The windows are cracked. One window, the windshield. Echo is lucky to have made it out alive. No, they were fine. No injuries. Thankfully, the magnet gun's rather safe despite having never been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh. Did you not, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation, I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Echo set up. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Echo around? Let them stay in, storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, then the kitchen, then the living room, then the hallway, then the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. Eventually, you find out the family is even more extended than you knew. The decorative dollies make a lot more sense knowing a grandmother lives here and her grandson, Zeus. Technically, they don't live in the house. Sure. Oh, doilies. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name, you look forward to meeting him when he comes for work in the morning. Did you know that his full name is Jesus? Honestly, he's a saint. I can believe it. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper, his nose stuck in his book. But you catch him occasionally glancing up as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig who Mabel declares as her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. Oh my god. I actually really like this. And in the evening, though you'd still been in the belief over the state of your car, the family dinner and after-dinner TV marathon you've been invited to makes it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. Returning to the storage room Mabel has shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you, and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. You wake to the weak glare of sunlight streaming through the small high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter. Then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing an accident yesterday must have left you tired out. Despite having been assured of yesterday's evening, my nose does not feel good. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you are free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley's taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks again. And Echo, I'm sorry for the accident. If I'd been smarter about, let's just say it's entirely my fault and you shouldn't have to worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face. You can't really bring yourself to try either. What am I gonna do with weeks? Ford, who had gone into an uncomfortable, closed off when your face fell, Rose recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's the town tour, of course, and the mystery shack. But if you ask me, it all pales in comparison to... Hold on, did you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sound comes again. This time, he heard as well. The squeal of a pig followed by a pair of footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the open kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and you follow to the doorway. Just getting there, there is an apparent tug of war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. After toppling backwards from her, the paper rips, and after nearly toppling backwards from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddle's jaw and lifting both sheets up victoriously. Aha! Mabel wins again. Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford! Ford, who'd run forward to hold a hand out to steady his energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hand. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. "Uncle Ford, you have got to help me!" Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned, look. "Slow down. Mabel, what's the matter?" "Dipper found a stack of pages from your old journals, and I walked in and Waddles ran up and started eating one. He must have been chewing on it to warn me because Uncle Ford, look!" Mabel takes the ripped halves of the paper from Ford's hand, joins them together, and holds them up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning?" "Yes, it says here that it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles was afraid for his life." I'm messing this up so bad. I'm so sorry. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort. Or not. It seems that the pig is lounging adorably at a short distance away in the hallway. You can't imagine what dangerous predator this must be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time. I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish that repellent that I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down onto the floor in relief. "Uncle Ford, you are an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear." Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. "Alright, I'll go get my recipe." Ford turns to leave. You suddenly remember that with nothing to do for the weeks here, you know it wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is in town anyways. You'll need that to not die of boredom the first week. Or, more pressingly, you should go check on your car and see what Stan's made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car on the side of the house again, though. What should you do? Get to know Ford. Ford, need a hand with that recipe? I can handle it myself. Are you sure you couldn't use a hand? Ford looks away. You follow his adverted line of sight to Mabel, who's just mouthed something of which you couldn't catch. She catches you looking her way. Mabel gives you a 100-watt smile, the picture of pure innocence. Ford rubs the back of his neck. "Yes, I suppose I can accept some help." With that, assured Ford is on the task, you spot Mabel rolling away with Waddles into the living room. I think I finally just got it. Okay. Before we get started, I suppose I should give you an introduction. Echo, tell me, do you believe in the supernatural? Absolutely! I really do. There's something in my house. We don't know what. We're gonna find out. Ahem. Well, you're about to come face to face with the unexplainable yourself. You see, Gravity Falls isn't some quiet, unassuming backwater town. Much more lurks below its surface. Ford pockets the crumpled journal papers and gestures for you to join him as he walks. You do and follow him through the living room into the gift shop. For example, you must have heard Mabel mention a pterodactyl. Most would say that none exists in the living world today, but I say not if you know where to look. Ford reaches under the cashier counter and receives a package of vintage-looking gum. Inspecting it for a moment before slipping it into his pocket, he looks around in thought. Hold on to my explanation for a moment. I need to receive some more supplies. Ford ushers you through the gift shop entrance so that you find yourself on the outside of the shack, and then shuts the door behind you. Okay. You correctly and politely just stand out there until Ford returns. You scan the sky for a pterodactyl while you wait. Not too long after, the door opens up and Ford joins you outside, looking no different than before. He must have stored whatever supplies he went to retrieve in his coat. But the trench coat falls too naturally on his figure for him to be hiding much. Where were we? Yes. Yes. Ford pulls a pen and a pad of paper from his coat, walking as he writes. Just as you're about to head out, he stops and smacks his face to his hand. Oh shoot, 1 second. Ford runs back to the house, realizing he forgot one important component to his venture, a butterfly net. Before you have the chance to ask, he strides out ahead of you, obviously in no mind to tell you what it's for, quite yet. The pair of you walk past the shack, down a well-worn path into the trees surrounding a house, sunlight peeking behind the pines. He double-checks whatever's scribbled onto the paper and tucks it back into his coat's seemingly infinite pockets. He stops, turns to you with a definite nod. My recipe for... Give me a moment here. My recipe for a repellent called for a sprig of lavender, 2 slices of ginseng, a drop of bat blood, a chunk of amber, and 3.5 milliliters of ink. He pauses, staring down at the path in thought. Obviously, I have all of those components on hand, all except for the last ingredient, a single moth's wing. From Mothman himself. You can't help it, you gasp. Ford glances at you. You think you see a hint of a smile before he turns back to the path, continues along, and wind ruffling through his hair. You see, Mothman is the very creature that Waddles seems to fear. Using a piece of itself should ward it away, or at least lead it to believe that Waddles isn't for eating. I would have already completed the repellent years ago if I had managed to collect that wing. Was it too difficult? Oh no, I just never got around to it. Besides, Mothman used to come bat at this lamp I had lit out in the backyard. It seemed like such an innocent hobby that I never had the heart to chase it off. But if this brings Mabel and her pig peace of mind, then the time has come to finish this. Sunlight filters through the trees, causing dappled shadows across Ford's coat as he leads in front of you. How much do you know about this stuff? I study anomalies. Anything unusual, strange, and just plain weird. I began my research in this town when it was, and remains, a hotbed of paranormal activity. Ooh. I made this exact trip years ago, though at the time I had no idea where I was going. It was dumb luck I managed to trail Mothman back to its cave from my backyard. Navigating through the forest is by moonlight poetic, but not advisable. I had made plenty of other discoveries as well, from fairies to gnomes and amalgams of creatures who were never meant to cross. Oh wait. Ford reaches into his pocket, pulls out the slightly crumpled pages Mabel had pushed into his hand earlier, smoothing them out and shuffling through them. Take a look at these. They're more definitive proof than just my word. You accept the pages from him and find that there's scanned pages from some sort of journal, just as you heard Mabel say that. Fluid cursive tells of Mothman, beard cubs, scamp fires, and more. Ford gestures to them and explains. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals, the remaining pages at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. Huh. Wow, I'm so glad I'm recording a YouTube video. Yeah. Him. any of these creatures ever dangerous? Oh, extremely! Some were worse. Dangerously annoying. Though Ford seems to find his own comment amusing, he doesn't fail to notice your needs. Actually, this would be very nice. Having a nice walk through the woods with an old man who just so happens to know everything about the paranormal. I respect this man. This is the man I respect. Him and him only. Also, Stanley. As of my favorite quote from Gravity Falls, anything's legal when there's no cops around. And also, yes! Burn the child! They are both masters of just chaotic power, and I love it. I do have weapons in case things escalate, though, so there's no need to worry. That's great. You brought weapons? Not many. I have a stun gun, my fists, and my sharp wit. I feel safer already. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals, the remaining pages, at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. So, you drew these? Yes, of course. Who else? I love your line work, honestly. I actually really like how they're drawn. I actually really do. This is me speaking, not Echo. Honestly, that is just... yes, I love it. My work now is far better, but I appreciate the compliment. It's better now? Oh my god. I also really like the art style of this. It's very nice. I love this game already. Oh my god. Despite his understated words, Ford looks pleasantly surprised. Not really. I don't think it's that surprised. I'm sorry. You must have gotten up to some pretty crazy stuff back then. That's one way to put it. It took 6 years for me to get in over my head. It takes a silent moment to look away from your gaze, seemingly in bittersweet remembrance. You didn't bring your magnet gun? I thought it would be prudent to leave its magnetic fields alone for a while, until I have the time to optimize it. You see, I was trying to widen the area of magnetic influence, and it's been a while since I last worked with the gun. I needed to re-familiarize myself with its inner workings. My guess is I switched a wire wrong or two, and instead narrowed the beam. I'd like to see how it works sometimes. Really? You know, if you're interested in devices like that, my old research colleague, Fiddleford, would have more to show you. He's the engineering genius around here. Yes, that's how we'll get the Mothwing. Then, why not just use mothballs as propellant? Well, I've never tried. Could be the most conventional method. Could the most conventional method be the unconventional one? Or would Mothman overcome its mothly nature and persist? Will we happen to catch sight of that pterodactyl? I doubt we'll spot it today, but perhaps we can go bird watching later if you're interested. There are floating eyeballs here? It sounds disconcerting, doesn't it? I once released them in my house by accident. I found eyeballs in the most unsuspecting places for months. My guests choose not to comment on my choice of house decor. You mentioned a gremlin. Ah, a rare specimen that I have steered clear of when accompanied by others. Though if you want to see one in person, It wouldn't hurt to walk into that situation for the sake of education. Honestly? Gravity Falls is home to giant vampire bats? Giant fruit bats, actually. They were among the first to teach me not to judge a creature by its reputation. I only realized it was harmless once I was bitten by one. Oh, that still sounds really bad. It actually healed quite fast. I attribute it to the health kick I was on soon after. That's really interesting. What about this leprechaun? Ford groans. You wait for further answer, but that's it. You mentioned gnomes? Other places have rats, mice, or insects as house pests. We have gnomes. Picture your typical garden gnome, but more disturbing. Suddenly, Ford puts an arm out in caution, slowing his pace. You narrowly manage not to collide with him. You take a quick glance around and see nothing. Look, there. You see what looks like a bundled up plaid shirt moving along the forest floor. Wait, is that a beaver's tail? It looks like a platypus. Ah, what are you doing all the way out here? Don't you mean a platypus? Ford shakes his head with a grin. Well, I meant what I said. It's a platypus. A platypus. Ford moves and crouch, but stays at a respectable distance following the small creature. You watch him after a moment mimic his actions. Ford gives the creature a bright smile, the first of its kind you've seen since leaving Mabel at the shack. You're a cute one, aren't you? And it's one of my favorite patterns, too. Ford motions for you to move forward a little bit to the distance he's maintaining. If I were to rate the oddities that live in the forest, from a scale of least annoying to most annoying, these little guys would get immunity. They have done nothing wrong, and I appreciate them for it. After the two of you watch in quiet appreciation, the platypus ambles into the underbrush and vanishes from view. What a cute little guy. I agree, oh my god! The two of you continue deeper into the forest. The foliage seems denser now. You look through the treetops for a glimpse of the sun, which has been dropped low into the sky. It had already been getting late whenever you left, but you hadn't thought Mothman would be this far out. Almost as if he'd read your mind, Ford answers for you. Mothman is rather reclusive. As such, he lives deep within the forest than bolder creatures like the gnomes. The gnomes. Are you alright? Huh? That is, are you tired at all? I should have asked sooner, but it's been a long time since I've traveled with anything new. Stanley tends to speak his mind without my asking. I know these woods like the back of my hand. We'll make it back. At least, I used to. It's been a while. You feel the opposite of reassured. Goodness gracious. In any case, we still have some time till sunset. Let's wait here in the meantime. You mentioned traveling with Stan? I suppose it wouldn't do any harm to tell you. He says that. The tone of his voice says he's been dying to tell someone for months. I've been sailing with Stanley around the world, chasing after hotspots of anomalous activity. He seemed to have viewed it as a vacation. I saw it as a chance to pick back up on some serious research. I've been rather eager to break the news of what I've found to the world, but first I must organize my findings. And if I'm honest, I still need some time to get back in the swing of things. Must be strange to come back home after traveling so long, huh? More than you know. Ford laughs, shaking his head behind his glasses. His eyes are downcast, almost sad. You want to ask, but decide to stay silent. Ask him! Oh, the poor boy. The moment the sun touches the horizon through the gaps in the treetops, Ford gestures for you two to continue. You hadn't noticed, but you'd been resting within short distance of a small clearing that holds a cylindrical stone marker. The stone marker bears intricate swirls carved into its surface. Ford reaches into his coat and produces the tobacco gum from earlier, opening it and dumping the pieces out into his palm. Gum? Thanks. Unsure of why you came all the way out here to unwrap gum at sunset, you accept a stick of gum. Ford puts the remaining gum in his coat breast pocket. He now unwraps the empty gum packing to reveal it was hiding a small piece of parchment, folded up to act as lining. He smooths it out against the stone, holding it under the deep orange-red light of the sunlight. You step closer to look over Ford's shoulder. The parchment holds a detailed drawing of the swirls carved in the stone, documenting every crack on the surface. As you watch, a golden cursive unfolds itself across the page, seemingly fueled by the sunset's warm light. Ford reads the words as they appear. Such place does the Mothman doth rest. But please do not disturb his nest. If kindness be something thou beareth. Ford lifts the parchment a little higher to prevent his shadow from obscuring the rest of the line. Follow thy nature and turn left. I think we turn left. I think so. Echo, we press onward. Yes! Left leads you to a dimly lit cave, which Ford says he remembers well, except last time he was here, it was pitch black since he arrived in the middle of the night. From its depth you hear the faint sound of dripping water echoing off the cave's shadow-shrouded walls as you slow your eyes attempt to adjust to the low light. This is like fanfiction. This fanfiction quality good stuff right here. I love this. I love this very much. Oh my god. Ahem. Ford pauses in front of you, reaching into his coat for something. Oh, I have a flashlight in here somewhere. This cave has never received much natural light, you see, and he rummages further, and you see a couple dice, a pad of paper from earlier, and a quill. He has a custom pocket going in there too. And you bet one of his coat's inner pockets has a pen protector in it. Ah, here we are, at last. Allow me to... Darn. Out of batteries. Wait, I think I have one. You turn on your phone and turn on its flashlight. The light is small, but it does its job. Huh. You saved our hides there, Echo. I was about to pull out a matchbook. With your light guiding the way, you and Ford move further into the cave, which yawns wide around you. It isn't until the sliver of natural light from the entrance disappeared that Ford speaks again. It has been years since I've been down here, decades at this point. But I'll always remember the eye bats as one of my first discoveries when I arrived at Gravity Falls. How did you find them in the first place? Ah, one got into my house. You see, I was making breakfast one morning, and one managed to find my cereal box. When I poured the cereal into the bowl, it came fluttering out, agitated, like it belonged there. The nerve! The nerve! How dare it! You still sound so indignant. Even years later, you laugh. I wanted to contain it for further study, but unfortunately it managed to get away. As I thought about it afterwards, its pupil constricted against the light, unfamiliar of the bright light of the kitchen. So either it's nocturnal or at least in the deepest, dark caves of Gravity Falls. I found them easily after that. Did you manage to catch one? Somewhat. I came running through this cave with a butterfly net and all its wit. I brought a working flashlight at that time. They hid in all the dark corners. When I turned the flashlight off, they flocked to me. I caught like 18 of them that day. It reminded me of the stealth uses of the rapid sound of clicking claws against stone startles you. A shiver runs up your spine. The dark. You turn off your light. Ford taps your shoulder and gestures for you to keep moving forward. Eventually, the narrow passage widens to a large room. The darkness shrouds the source of dripping water from view. But as your eyes adjust, you see a strange winged shadow. A shadow with eyes that glow red in the near darkness like rubies. Your breath catches in your throat as the realization comes over you. Ford is apparently very close to you in the room. When he speaks a few inches from your shoulder, you catch the shadow's arms swing out in a wide arc, like he's introducing you to Echo. I'd like you to meet the Mothman. He whispers. Even in the dark, you can see him grinning excitedly at you. Ford looks between you and Mothman, apparently hoping for a dramatic reaction. Your speechlessness seems to satisfy him. Don't worry, it hasn't noticed us yet. Here's the plan. We make contact with Mothman and he pulls out a butterfly net and a large lidded jar. Now, where that came from within his coat of mysteries is lost to you. We'll capture one of the 100 moths that comprise it. Wait, I get to touch Mothman? The Mothman? Yes, and it turns back into 100 black witch moths, which it's like experiencing a swarm of locusts. Surprising when you're not expecting it. Remember, even just a light touch is enough. You steel yourself waiting for Ford's signal. He waves his hand to coax you forward, and then you decide to, well, make contact. Approach with stealth. You tiptoe towards the Mothman, remembering Ford's comment on dark and trying to challenge your inner stealth skills. Of course, that's the moment your phone decides to start blasting Taking Over Midnight by Alexandra, and you're confused before remembering that Mabel added her number to your contacts. It must have made that her custom ringtone. Oh my god. Mothman turns the noise and screeches. Before you can barrel towards it, the creature explodes into 100 moths, fluttering around you, getting stuck in your shirt, skidding around your face, surrounding you in a mothy hell. Your task is accomplished. Ford rushes into a large swarm of moths, leaving a butterfly net with a few unsuccessful swipes. He starts swatting the more aggressive ones away. But there are too many. You grab your phone and quickly switch the light on, running to Ford's side, holding it up high. You attempt to call them over, despite knowing that they don't respond to sound. Before they don't crowd the phone, the sight of the light flickering and reflecting off of so many small wings is somewhat captivating. It would be somewhat captivating if you hadn't just been caught in the midst of them. Ford puts the butterfly net away. Jar in hand, carefully scoops one of the moths up. Well, that could have gone better, but we've succeeded nonetheless. As Ford pockets the jar, you turn off the light, and with no light, no threat to focus in on, the cloud disperses. That was amazing! Ford laughs, brushing dust and dirt off his trench coat. You could say that. Our completed repellent is within sight. Let's head back. Ford turns to leave the cave. He looks calm and content. You, on the other hand, are buzzing with energy under an adrenaline rush. Should you go for a high five? Yeah! universally understood, offer her a high five. Ford pauses, then grins, high-fiving you, or rather, 6. When you and Ford finally reach cave entrance, you find the forest that you'd left in the dying light, but now adash with a silvery glow. A gap within the leaves overhead provides a view of the night sky, along with long strips of stars. Honey, I'm a thought for detail. Wow, that's great. A few more steps and the Milky Way comes into view, looking as if a tear across the fabric of the sky. Ah! Oh, I love stars and I love space! Ford notices you looking. See something? The pterodactyl doesn't usually come out this late, but being a prehistoric creature, its behavior is rather unpredictable. I've never seen the Milky Way in person before. It looks amazing. It's true, I personally never have. Too bright out here. Isn't it? It's remarkable what you would see without light pollution from the city. Here on the outskirts of town, you can see a good portion of the Milky Way every night. He gazes into the night sky. A whole year has passed, and yet it feels strange to see a sky I recognize. What? Oh, traveling, I was in a different part of the world. You both stare up at the sky in a comfortable silence for a few more moments. The quiet of the forest settles in, along with that the distant sound of flowing water. You find yourself surprisingly glad Ford had accidentally pulled you here. If this is one of the moments you get to experience. Out of the corner of your eye, you swear you see Ford looking at you. Instead of up, but you tilt your head back down. His attention is elsewhere. Eventually, the two of you come to a wordless, mutual agreement to continue on. You're walking again. You'll have to show me some other creatures that live here sometime. You're glad you said so, because you look over and find that Ford looks pleasantly surprised to hear it. His chest puffs out with pride. Of course, maybe we'll even get to a spot to hide behind, or tag along with Dipper whenever he next visits the multi-bear. The what? Ford taps his temple, grinning. You'll have to wait until I show you to find out. Oh my god, look at that smile! Look at his face! Aw. He's a big nerd. I'm holding you to that. We have some time left before we get back, if you're up for another walk. You must make a face, because Ford looks back at you and laughs. We're not that far, I promise. I just thought I might answer a few questions of yours, if you have any. Actually I do have questions. You must stay in great shape if you do this all day. Ha! Actually this sort of thing isn't part of my exercise regimen. Really? Wow. He turns left at a stone marker, then towards the sound of the river. Sure enough, after a while it comes into view. The moonlight illuminates the water as you walk along it. After following the river for quite a few minutes, the shoreline expands into this small, round lake in the center of a clearing. Overhanging it is a large flat rock, the kind of which that can be used as a less than effective diving board in times of emergency. The emergency being that one just had to jump into the lake. However, neither of you nor Ford look in the direction of the diving board. He leads you towards the edge of the lake, where a relatively flat boulder could substitute for a bench, and the two of you take a seat. Ahem. Ask Ford about the stars. You ask Ford if he has a favorite constellation, and his answer comes faster than you expected. Orion, and the Ursa Major without a doubt. What about you? Oh, I actually do really like the Ursa Major. It's nice. You don't really get to see it much here. And I'm not exactly very fond of staring up at the sky in the middle of the night because I don't like going outside at night. It just feels uncomfortable. Well, you must have good taste. I've seen a lot of pictures of it though, and I actually really like it. You must have good taste. I'm going to ask about other creatures in Gravity Fall. You said to wait, but can I at least get a preview of what I'm getting into? Not content to leave them to discover yourself, Well, has anyone told you about the Gobblewonker? You snort, taken aback by the name, but compose yourself when Ford simply raises an eyebrow. No, I don't think so. Not even in the tourist guide? Does the office even read my letters? Ford mutters to himself something about updating a tourist guide to warn against local dangers. He sighs with frustration that's reserved for bureaucracy. But soon lights up with the prospect of getting to introduce you to yet another strange creature. Well, the Gobblewonker is a large sea monster that lives in this very lake. One could say that it's our version of the Loch Ness Monster. My old researcher assistant apparently saw it at some point. He said it was large, grey, and scaly, with a long neck like a giraffe. You wouldn't have had any odd sightings yet, have you? It's only been 24 hours, but my own first encounter with the strange occurred only shortly after my arrival as well. Maybe. I saw Mabel stick kitten-shaped stickers to her face today. That must count for something, right? I'll be sure to write that anomaly down once we get back to the shack. What about the Mystery Shack? Ah, yes, the Mystery Shack used to be my house once upon a time, and now it's a tourist trap. I'm glad for what it's become as a home. I just wish it weren't offending to each of the senses. Ask about his family. Who is Seuss? The handyman, Seuss. He's, well, I'm not sure what he does, actually. But Stan gave him the right to conduct his business at the shack, and so he spends his day giving out tours, selling merchandise, fooling with the townsfolk, giving no refunds, and the like. I may not have been around the original Mystery Shack very long, while Stan was running it, but I believe Seuss is doing the brand name good. What's Dipper like? Dipper is very intelligent in many ways. He reminds me of, well, myself. Last summer, he found the research journals that I mentioned, and instead of overlooking them, made some impressive contributions of his own. He has since started his own journal, and I look forward to see where life will take him. He's made me prouder than I can say. What is Stan like? Stubborn, foolhardy, a liar, and a cheapskate. But a true hero at heart. There is no one else I'd rather like to call my brother. In short, a force to be reckoned with. She radiates charm and positivity, and has depths of determination I can only guess at. You'll have to find out for yourself, most likely. It's hard not to wake up one day and find yourself her friend. Perhaps you already are. He wiggles his fingers spookily in the air, and you laugh. I don't doubt it. Ask about staying. Are you really okay with me staying here? Absolutely, I owe it to you after all. Helping me today, however, was not part of the plan. You're making it rather hard to settle with my dad. Well, I think you did me a favor just by letting me come along today. The two of you share a smile.
Ford looks out across the lake and thought, Echo, I'd have to admit, I didn't want to take you with me earlier today. I thought I'd be walking myself into an uncomfortable social situation. So did you, to be honest. Ah! Oh, that didn't hurt. Oh. I'm good. And you did well out there. Not many tourists can handle that kind of task that we just accomplished. This has the potential to have gone disastrously. I mean, a butterfly again? A butterfly net? Against Mothman? Easily a 3% success rate. Sometimes, the more Ford speaks, the less reassured you feel, until all that's left is a distant unease. Jesus Christ, dude. It'd be better if you stopped talking. You nod and smile anyways. The two of you sit another moment in quiet. Night air pleasantly chill around you until Ford again breaks it. We should head back now. I'm sure Mabel will want to hear that we've been successful. You stand and give Ford a hand up for the makeshift bench. Ford takes the lead again, and soon you're no longer able to catch sight of the lake when you glance back. Ford gradually adjusts his pace to yours, walking side by side in companionable silence, all the way back to the shack. Almost there! You recognize from the incredibly flashy signs touting phrases like Mystery Shack this way and Sasquatch to your left. Sasquatch. That you are extremely close to arriving back to the shack. As you and Ford leave the tree line, you see the bright lights shining on the porch. You make out the faint line of the kids' shadows as they run through the house and emerge in the attic's window. Mabel pushes it open, leaning out. Go Ford! Finally! You guys took so long I had time to cover waddles and macaroni. Why would you do that? I have my reasons. Did you get the thing? Yes, and I'm coming inside so we can stop shouting. Echo, come along. We've got a pig to save. Yes, of course. I've heard that there's going to be math in this, and I'm terrified. Well, this will count as my education for fall break, I guess. Ford strides into the shack, a man on a mission. You grin and follow, but not before taking one last look at the night sky. Yeah, maybe your stay here won't be too bad after all. Back inside the shack, the grand conclusion to your expedition to Mossman Cave is spiritizing. Mabel's pig with a newly finished deterrent until the poor piglet reeks of lavender. You see Mabel and Dimmer head up into the bed looking sleepier than usual as a result. Something about the lavender is so soothing to your senses that you crash out fairly soon afterwards, face first onto your makeshift bed. Alright, I'm going to save it here, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!